Hey everyone, it's Cal Ewing here, and I am going to teach you how to use a website called ListSource to pull seller lists that then you can use for your direct mail marketing, cold calling, voicemail drops, whatever kind of marketing you're doing. You need to start with a good list. And for those of you that have not used ListSource or have no idea where to start with getting a list, this is I would say the best and most accurate place to get going. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how to use listsource.com to create lists that you can market to. Okay, so first thing you're going to need to do is set yourself up with an account. ListSource accounts are absolutely free. The only thing you have to pay for is when you buy the lists. And depending on what your list includes, it's around 18 cents a lead. Sometimes it's a little bit cheaper than that, depending on what data it's providing. Okay, so let's get started. First thing you want to do is go to create your own. Okay, and before I say anything more, there are some kind of pre-made lists. So you can see absentee owners, foreclosure prospects, private lender prospects. So you can actually explore those. And I will do that another video and explore some of those as well. But let's go to create your own. And ListSource, when I first started using it, it seemed a little confusing, but it's not actually as bad as it looks. So down here, this is all the criteria of your list that you are creating. And these tabs are where you select what criteria it is. Okay. So first thing you want to start with is geography. And you may have a different way that you're marketing for leads and targeting sellers. So it might be by zip code, or it might be by city. Maybe it's by county. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for, but you can do all of that through here. Okay, so you can see there's city, county, state, township, and range. I usually use zip code. Okay. And we'll just do Texas because that's where I'm used to. So you can select your state. And it says right here, you can't do this for Montana, South Carolina, Idaho, or Kansas, unfortunately. But most states you can. So Texas, and you can see all of the zip codes in the entire state are here. So you can just select the ones you like and hold Shift. And you can select a group of them. And then you just click Add to move them over. If you made a mistake, you can select them again and remove them. The other cool thing is you can just type it in. So I don't know, let's just pick a random zip code, 77357. I don't even know what that is exactly. Okay, so you got your zip code, and you can see there's 10,855 properties in that zip code. All right, and you can see also here under geography, it shows the criteria that you've entered in. Okay, and it's weird that it's a different number. Either way, it doesn't matter. So now that you've got your geography, I like to go to property next. So select property, and there is all kinds of criteria in here that you can filter property details with. So you can go, whether it has a swimming pool or not, if it's on the waterfront or not, all kinds of stuff. But I like to start with property type. Okay, and I mean, you could just target mobile homes if you want, townhomes, whatever, vacant land. But I like to go down and use residential single family, SFR. Okay, so you just click Add. And you can see here it says single family residence 1 to 4 units. So that includes your duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes as well. Okay, so you can see that reduced our number greatly for this zip code. Now we only have 4,000 names. Okay. So that's property type. The next thing I like to do is equity. All right, so there's equity percentage. I use that. And when I'm marketing, and you may have different criteria, but I'm looking for homes that have at least 30% equity. Okay, so you can either, again, select 31 all the way to 100% equity. That's the easiest way. Okay, or you could type it in again. So like 31 to 100, right? And you click Add. Oops, that was 1,000. Just one thing that can get you is, notice these are negative. So these are homes that have basically the mortgage amount is more than the property's worth. So you don't want to select those necessarily. Okay, so now we've got these homes with equity, and it breaks it down how many homes fit each equity percentage range. And we're left with 2,000 homes now. Okay. So then, I mean, you can definitely get as specific or as vague as you want. I like to look at the the value. So there's current home value here, and then there's also, where is it? Improved value. So I like to use the current home value, but I think they're the exact same number. So choose current home value. And what I always do is I go and look. You can ask your realtor. I think you can use Zillow and figure out what the median home sales price is for that zip code or that area. And I prefer to target homes that are at median or below. And the reason I like to do that is if you're buying a home and the value is at the very top of the price range for that zip code, I feel like your buyers are going to be very limited because most people, can afford, if they want to live in an area, they can afford to buy the homes that are around the median. If they can afford to buy the nicest home in that zip code, there's probably very few people that actually want to buy that home because they probably want to go to an area where all the homes are of similar style and price and size, right? So it also allows you to find homes that are valued less than the rest of them because maybe they're in poor condition, and then you can build equity if you buy them right, or you can improve them and capture that equity. Okay, so I don't know the exact median home price for this zip code, but let's just say it's from 1 to let's say 200,000. Okay, so you click add. So this uses, I believe this uses the tax assessed value of the property. So it's going to take any homes valued at 200,000 or less. Okay. And so that reduces our number a little bit more. You can then go in and look at, beds and baths, property size, things like that. But I think I'm okay with pretty much any configuration of beds and baths. And so I'm going to leave it at that. One other one you may want to look at would be year built. So I might go from 1900 all the way to maybe 2000, because that gives me about 19 years of repairs that might be needed. And that, the more repairs that are needed, the more frustrated people can be. They can't afford to make the repairs, and so they might sell their house as is to you. And then the last one could be how many years they've owned the property, right? If they've owned it for less than 5 years, A, they might not be that motivated to sell. B, there might not be a lot of repairs that are needed. So you can also toy with ownership if you want. But this is a pretty good list. So we got about 1,094. You can go and play around with demographics. There's all kinds of stuff here, but I don't really use any of these. But you can filter by marital status, year of birth. So maybe you're targeting, seniors that might want to downsize. There's even gender and ethnicity, but I don't really mess with that. And then you can also go and pull pre-foreclosure leads, pending auction sale leads, and then bank-owned properties as well. Okay, we're not going to do this in this video. I'm just looking for people that have equity. Okay, I'm going to target everyone. Now, the last thing is options. And here's where you can target people that are absentee owners. So these are landlords or people that have inherited the property, or vacant homes, things like that. Usually these people have a higher level of motivation to sell. So you could select absentee owned, and then you could choose properties with in-state owners, or you could hone in on just the out-of-state owners. And those people tend to be even more motivated because they're trying to manage a property from a long distance. Hey, just like us. So they might have a little bit more motivation there too. But we'll include all out-of-state and in-state owners, non-owner occupied. Okay. And then here, trustee owned. I like to exclude them because it's harder to find owners when they're trustee owned properties. And then we want to exclude corporate owned because it's very difficult to find owners of those houses. Okay. The last thing is you just want to make sure you have mailing address complete. So that way, if you are doing a direct mail campaign, you'll have the right address. Okay, so we've got it down to 217 leads, so that's pretty good. And you can see here it summarizes everything that you chose. So say you want to remove something, you could easily just click it and it'll remove that one feature from your criteria list. So now down at the bottom, it gives you the opportunity to save your criteria, because maybe you're going to come back in 6 months and pull a brand new list and you don't want to forget what you had. So you can save it and then you can purchase your list here. It's pretty great. You can use your credit card or link right to PayPal, name your list whatever you want. And so you can see here this list cost $154. And you can even see how they're charging. So some data costs more than others. All right. And one thing I always recommend you do is remove duplicate mailing addresses, because you don't need to mail, even though they might own more than one property, you don't want to mail them more than once. Okay. Let's see if that reduces. Yeah. So that took down a bunch of addresses off our list. So then you just check out. And what you get out of this is a pretty detailed spreadsheet of the owner name, the owner's mailing address, the property that you that made the list. So if it's a rental property, that'll be there too. Sometimes they'll have bank information, all kinds of stuff. One thing it does not have is phone numbers and email addresses and that kind of thing. So what I typically do is I take this list that I got from ListSource and then I get it skip traced to find phone numbers. Okay, but this is where you need to start, because you need to know what properties there are and who the owners are and what their addresses are, so you can send them a letter. All right, as always, if you have any questions about this, feel free to send me an email and I can walk you through this and help you get this going so you can pull your first list. Talk to you soon. I'm Cal Ewing.